also been an Amnesty International online volunteer.
21 years old.
And I'm 21 years old, yes.
Wow. Very good.
Thank you. So, our topic of today is volunteerism for professional growth. And I know that when we generally hear of volunteerism, what comes to mind is something good, giving back to the community, building a better world for everyone, and ensuring that our communities are safe spaces for everybody. But today I want to talk about volunteerism from a different angle. As in, volunteerism can be a two-way traffic, beneficial to you as an individual as well as to the society. I'm going to talk about how beneficial volunteerism is for your professional growth as an individual. So the first thing is that volunteerism is very essential, especially for skills building. And we know that the skills that you can acquire while volunteering are the same skills that are essential in the job market. And by these skills, we mean analytical skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills, people and time management skills, and all those skills are very essential everywhere you go. That's why they're basically called life skills. And so these skills, you can get them while volunteering. If you are unemployed or you're looking to change jobs or you're just in between jobs, this is a very, very good start point. And I'm going to talk about how volunteerism helped me personally. My dream has always been to work with the United Nations. I mean, when I was back in university, all my friends are like, one day I'll work for the United Nations, one day I'll be Secretary General, one day I will enter the UN system. And volunteering, I started doing that while I was going to school. I used to volunteer a lot for the local NGOs, the ones that I formerly visited, and this built a lot of skills, leadership skills especially. And when I went actually for my interview as a United Nations volunteer, I was able to showcase those skills, and I was able to answer most of the very tough competence-based questions that were asked to me during the interview, mostly because of the interviews I had done before becoming a volunteer for the local NGO I volunteered for. So volunteerism really helped me to get to this step in the United Nations, where I work with now with UNICEF in Sudan. And secondly, volunteerism is very, very powerful when it comes to networking. Volunteerism helped me to have a whole network of people globally. There are so many people I got to know just by volunteering, and those people actually helped me to be where I am right now. Because I remember I was volunteering as the Vice President of the Commonwealth Student Union back in university, and we had an activity. It was an activity that brought together a lot of youth leaders. So there were community-based youth leaders, and there were a lot of ministers and foreign leaders. Were all in this room, and we had a lot of fruitful and productive exchange. And then I met this lady there. She was actually the one who introduced me to the portal, the United Nations Volunteer Portal. And I was able to sign up, and then later I got the position I was looking for. So right now I can count myself lucky that I have this whole network of great, like-minded individuals, right from the different local NGOs I volunteered with, and even right now as a United Nations volunteer. And lastly, volunteering helps for professional growth because it gives you a platform to showcase your skills. When, as a volunteer, you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to work with various organizations, and you get to exercise those skills that you were able to gather, because you meet a lot of people and you don't know who might be a potential employer. Those people are able to refer you to jobs. Those people are able to tell you about job openings. Those people are able to even give you a recommendation. And the whole network that you build and the whole skills that you were able to acquire while being a volunteer, during those volunteering moments, you can be able to showcase them. So I know that we are all here today as leaders. We have different organizations. We belong to different maybe NGOs or different companies. maybe we own them, or maybe we have positions in them. So what I would like to encourage each and every one of us to take home from this brief moment of sharing is that as you go back, wherever you find yourself, open up the volunteering position in those various areas so you can give somebody the opportunity to be able to gather skills. Those skills that I talk about, those analytical skills, those interpersonal skills, those communication skills, those problem solving skills, those conflict resolution skills, all the skills that you can name by volunteering for you. And I will also like you to open up that position so that you can give another person an opportunity to showcase those skills and build a network that will be productive to him or her. I would like to share a very personal story of what happened while I was volunteering in a very technical place in Sudan. So I went to this area in Sudan called Kassala. It's a very fragile region of that particular area in Sudan. And I think I had an experience that was very mind-blowing, and I'm not sure I would have gone through that experience if I had not been a volunteer while going to school. And while I was volunteering for the local NGO back in school, I was able to solve an issue that concerned two people who were under my supervision, and a similar activity. I'm trying to avoid the details because it's a little bit confidential, but a similar activity, a similar situation unfolded itself back there in Sudan, in Kassala, and I was able to harness and calm the situation down because I had actually had a similar experience while working for my local NGO while going back to school. And I'm very, very certain that if I had not been a volunteer during that period of time, I would have not been able to tackle that situation, which actually gave me credibility now in the eyes of my supervisor. And now she actually gives me more valid tasks to handle. Because at the beginning I had a struggle with my age and trying to impose myself. But because of that situation that I was able to handle, I was able to reach that level of formality with her. So,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, how do you make volunteers do their work as effective as they were doing a paid work?
As effective, I think in that dimension, you have to, of course, come to terms and understand that they are there, but you have to do some sort of incentive. But I think mostly that volunteering is in the mindset. When we come into volunteering, we know that it is not paid.
But the commitment is not the same as paid job.
Yes, the commitment is not the same as paid job. So if you have an organization, for example, you can provide little incentives, like maybe the certificate at the end of volunteering, or t-shirts, like if they're young people love t-shirts, badges, and all of that. And maybe at a certain level, even transportation. If they are to go for an activity, you can chip in something in terms of transportation just to encourage them without it being a direct financial benefit.
I'll just add, so I'm from eastern part of India, in a town called Calcutta. So Mother Teresa mostly worked in that part. When I was in school, I had an opportunity to visit her home, and she was very young. But I think one thing that she told me always stayed with me, it was the bravest heart in the world belongs to the volunteers. And that's why they do what they do most of the time. So I think that in a way is something that I
But it's very
want.
hard to find people that they are so brave, and you still need people to work for this project. Like from 10 people, maybe 2 they will be really committed and their heart will be there.
Right.
But 8, you have to push them and you have to motivate them, and every single day. And it's already another job that you have to do. So I'm thinking, Whereas you are volunteering such big organizations, what is their strategy for them to keep the volunteers? Now, the name, it will be one thing.
Yeah.
But if I don't have the name, what other options will be there?
Yeah, so just wanna participate in the discussion, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
I believe that every volunteer or every individual is not always looking for money.
Yeah.
You know, for the time that they are going to commit to certain work. It's very important to identify why someone wants to give their time. You know, is it a cause that drives them? Is it the name of the organization that will drive them? And is it money that will drive them? Because then no matter how big the organization is, and money may not always be about earning money. Money may always be sometimes be also about whether they actually need money also, right? Everyone has different needs. And then the fourth thing that I eventually realized, because a lot of volunteers work with us, is what's their next step? You know, what is it that they plan to do after this? Because then maybe this can be one of the stepping stones towards that. Or, you know, whether learning a new skill or entering into that industry or gaining the network so that even if this one is not paying them, then because through this particular volunteer project they will acquire the network of similar companies or similar organizations in the same space. And these are the four things that we have identified that has been working wonderfully well. Now, once you have attracted them, second is to still have a process. Because handling volunteers is not an easy task. I'm sure you have your own share of experience.
But what is the retention rate?
The retention?
Retention rate. How long they are going to stay there?
It depends. Every organization has some organizations 6 months, some 1, some even volunteer like periodically. Like I can need a volunteer for as a web designer to design maybe a website for my organization, and once he does that, it's over. He goes back. Yes, some 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It all depends.
Would it be like UN and UNICEF with these big organizations?
No, it also depends.
Even the smaller and lesser known organizations, depends, like I said, that what's the objective that they want.
Okay.
And if they can also afford with respect to the time and loss of opportunity from any other space and balancing out with other activities in their life, whether it requires their physical presence or not, and they can do it from wherever they are. A lot of things define how long they can be part of.
And they're actually online volunteers. The United Nations has online volunteers.
Okay.
Yeah. They do that. So, like another point that what I was talking about was incentives. You can actually make it more attractive to them. Especially most people, if you have an organization that has a name, if the person is in there mostly for the name, then you can give something like a certificate. At the end, the person can use it once you can table it for an interview or in his resume or all of that. And you can also just, as she said, understand the why the person wants to engage in this. If the person is doing it for a cause, and once you know what attracts the person to do this, then you can hammer from that angle to make them stay.
Can I ask a question?
No, it's questions. Okay.
So, 2 questions.
Okay.
First, as a volunteer, when you started volunteering, how do you identify a cause that you identify yourself with? Most cases, when you begin to volunteer, you must feel very passionate about that particular cause. That's number one. How did you find that out? Second is, what is the difference between online volunteering and other forms of volunteering that you have experienced for these big organizations?
Okay, so the first thing is that I first of all got to understand myself. And while in school, I was very passionate about human rights. Very, very passionate about human rights. I actually went to law school. So I was able to trace those organizations. I don't know, maybe my method is different from another person. Yeah, so I just went online and I Googled organizations working for human rights in Cameroon. And I was able to get a few of them. And then I started volunteering there. And as I said, volunteering is like a whole network. It opens a network for you. So when I met guys in this organization, I was able to meet. When I met them, I was able to see other people from other organizations. So I decided to split my time. I literally had a timetable. I spent this amount of time working for this organization that works for human rights, and then the other sister organization, I dedicate this amount of my time to it. So I was able to understand myself and know what I want to give back to the community. And once I checked that box, I started volunteering there. And secondly, the online volunteering and the physical volunteering, if I can put it that way, are different in different ways. Because online volunteering, for example, I was an Amnesty online activist. Amnesty shares with us some petitions. We sign those petitions and we forward them to other people. So it's mostly digital, online. We use our phones, we use our laptop, whatever device you have. And also Amnesty had this, they had this program called the Decoders. So we had to analyze racist and sexist tweets against women. So the tweet basically pops up and then you rate it. Is this racist? Is this sexist? And you do that. So that was an example of what I did as an online volunteer with Amnesty. And then the physical volunteering, for example, I was coordinator of activities for Thriving Youth Leaders Initiative. So what we basically did is that I draw the program for the volunteers, even though I am a volunteer, but I was like in the leadership position. So I draw the program for the volunteers and members of the organization. Excuse me. And through this program, we have particular dates, and Thriving Youth Leaders Initiative was an organization that mostly carried out its activities on international days. So on International Day Against Child Labour, for example, we had a talk at the local market, and we had a talk at the radio station, at a popular radio station in my local community called Swa in Cameroon. And so every International Day, we do something. So it doesn't really interfere with the time of the students, because most volunteers were students of that university. And then online, I was able to be an Amnesty volunteer without it clashing on my program.
And at what age did you start it?
I was in my second year, so I was like 19.
Really impressive.
Thank you.
So, when you started young as a volunteer, what are one of the few of the challenges that you think, youth participation in volunteering has?
Okay, to be honest, it's the money. That's the first. It's the money. Because as young people, we're always trying to do something that will give us a financial advantage, especially in my country, Cameroon, because most of the youth are unemployed. For example, if I'm a young person in Cameroon, like the average young person in Cameroon, especially the male, you have that family pressure of like bringing something to the table. And then so obviously if you're approached for a volunteer opportunity, you don't think that way. You think of what you can do that will give you the money. So, and that's the first barrier. And I think the second thing also that really affected for volunteering participation is the mindset, if I can put it that way. The whole mindset, because I personally faced a lot of backlash on my volunteering activities. I was laughed at a lot in school, a whole lot.
Because you're doing
yes,
good.
Because people weren't seeing it that way. They were like, "You're a lawyer. You're supposed to be like interning at some law firm. We see you're on the streets. You're organizing a rally to teach street children about child rights. To go to the local market. Imagine you're in the local market." Talking about child abuse and all of that, or you're distributing part for menstrual hygiene management and all of that. They don't see it that way, because it's like the young generation is like, you're supposed to carry yourself, especially in law school. So this is like unique to my school. And that was like one of the challenges, that people don't see that volunteering can actually help you professionally, and they don't see that it's actually giving back to the community. They think you're supposed to carry yourself to a certain standard, especially as a law student.
And is it possible for you as a volunteer to move as full-time employee when you decided to? When was your dream?
Yeah, it does happen a lot, but it's still up to them. But it gives you the chance.
It didn't happen so far for you.
I'm still a great volunteer. My contract is over.
Still 2 years.
She's still studying, right?
No,
But you can still hire her, right?
Yeah, I'm done. I have a degree. Yeah. So I'm still working. My contract is not over. Generally, they can get you to be a full-time staff when your contract is over. So I'm still a UN volunteer. Thank you.
What is it that you need to do to get voluntary to
I think you need to understand them because every young person is different. Depending on the region, the culture, it's different. Because if you come to Cameroon and you do something that is very, maybe, if I can say Western, it might not attract the youth. So you have to understand, first of all, your young people in the area you're trying to target. Once you understand them and you know what is attractive to them, then you can hit them from that angle. And I also believe in incentives a lot, because incentives help a lot. The thing, when I was trying to get more people to volunteer for the organization I was volunteering for as a leader, I used to tell them, at the end of this volunteering activity, there will be certificates. At the end, because especially those who are in school, they're like, okay, I have a certificate, I can do this, that's good. Or I'll pay your transport, for example, because some people say they don't have transport money, it's so far. I'm a student, I'm at home, I have to think about food and all of that. I'm a young person, I don't have time. But if you encourage the person with something little that can make the person to come, then finally they do end up coming.
And how often they give incentives?
How often?
How often they give incentives?
It depends on the organization. I think the decision-making board of the organization has to decide like how often they will give the incentives. Every organization is different.
All the very best for your future endeavors and volunteering. I hope that I see you in UN someday.
Yeah.
Hi. Thank you. I'm sorry I joined really little late, but I just would like to add that I'm from Armenia and I've been also volunteering for around 8 years during my LSB and after also the Young Lawyers Association. And yeah, to reply to your question on how you should create, I just remember that what all as a student of LLB required at that point of time was the importance we were given by the organization that they trust you. As a first or second year student, they first give you a training, which is making you much empowered as a lawyer. And second, they give you a chance to go to the public, to the people, and to teach them about their human rights, and you feel so important, and you really start loving more your profession. And then you go back to the organization, and there also you introduce how you did it, how you came back with it. And of course the certificate, the main factor, but that certificate of course would have a power. And after that they also promote you in different organizations, recommendation letters, etc. So this all method volunteering is great. Thank you.
Questions? Any more questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
With us, noise like this, but in India, that is.
Oh.
Well, in the north and in the south, it's different.
Oh.
And so we are full of oddities and complexities. So everything that is supposed to be true, the opposite is also true at the same time in our country. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
स्टॉप कर दोगे